Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Dan's Models. This is John. I'm sitting here with Dan as usual, and we're doing something different.
Yeah, this is a road test of Santa Fe SD40-2 5126 on the CMRS HO scale layout up in Crockett, California. This is the engine that we've been building on model building start to finish for the last year and a half or so. And it's paired with my other Santa Fe SD40-2 5111 and 5 other locomotives.
It's a big train.
Yeah. So since the CMRS layout represents the Southern Pacific line from Oakland over Underpass to Sparks and Reno, we're pretending that this is some kind of a Santa Fe detour train, since you wouldn't normally see Santa Fe up there.
Any excuse will do.
Yeah, but in any case, it's a good excuse to play with the trains. All of these locomotives have Loc-Sound Select sound decoders with the new FullThrottle sound sets, and they're advanced consisted, which is cool because that means that you can program them to respond to the same function key press all at once if you want to. So I did that for a couple of the different sounds, which comes into play a little later in the video. A lot of the cars that I have here are ones that are either from our weathering and detailing video series or that I've had on Dan's Models before. They've also all been what I call green dot inspected, meaning that I've checked the coupler height, wheel gauge, and made sure that they don't wobble.
Yeah, I recognized some of them from the older videos, so it's pretty cool to see them out on a layout like this.
Yeah, it was I believe a 38 car train, if I remember correctly. And 7 locomotives.
I think that's the longest train I've ever seen you run.
Yeah, I think it is the longest train that I've ever run personally of my own equipment. All
Yeah.
of these cars are mine. They don't belong to the club. So 5126 and 5111 are both highly detailed blue box Athearn SD40-2s. The F45 5961 is a modified Athearn Genesis unit. The 819 is an Atlas C40-8W. 3854 is another Athearn Blue Box GP50. 6374 is an Atlas B23-7. And 2821 is a modified Kato GP35U.
I had to include this shot because one of our hosts, Mike, wanted to include this Berkeley Ready Mix concrete industry. So there you go, Mike. Shout out to Mike.
The last boxcar is equipped with a Ring Engineering FRED, or end of train device.
Didn't we also have that on a product review or Dan's Models?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did.
You know, you can really see it in this shot here with the lights showing up on the side of the cars that are parked. It's really neat to have that bright of lights on a model.
Yeah, these are all done with LEDs. The ditch lights in this one have surface mount LEDs, and then there's a 3mm LED behind the headlight. And all of these engines are actually equipped with LED lighting. It's just they're all off because they're trailing units. I should also mention that all but the F45 and the Dash 8 are models that I painted myself. The first 2 boxcars behind the engines are Atlas Evans boxcars, and they're patched to represent Santa Fe leasing cars. So I thought it was appropriate to have those behind the locomotives.
I thought this was an interesting shot. I took it with my phone. I wanted to get the impression of being on the ground under the underpass, and I think it turned out pretty good.
I want to mention there, if you're hearing a little bit of a squeaky noise, that was 2821, the GP35U. I'm not sure what's going on with that engine, but I was sort of later regretted having it in the consist because it made that noise the whole time.
Something I'd mention is look at that overpass. I mean, that looks like something you would actually see in real life, doesn't it?
Yeah, that actually represents Interstate 80 going over the Carquinez Bridge. And this part of the layout is actually Crockett on the layout, and the whole layout is in Crockett.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that way, isn't it?
Yeah. So Santa Fe 5126 East is heading around the curve into Port Kosta here. And one nice thing is that some of the other club members came to the club that day and arranged to have some meets with us. So we're about to see one of those right here. So now the train is going to cross the bridge, leaving Martinez and heading toward Ganesha.
This is one of my favorite parts on this layout because that bridge looks so much like the real one.
So the train here is starting to enter the helix, and it's going to climb up to the upper level of the layout, and when it emerges up there, it'll be in the town of Davis. So if you're wondering why I'm not blowing the horn here, it's because I was actually standing quite a distance away from the train and I couldn't see where the street was. So the Crockett layout has several long peninsulas, so you can get some really nice long shots like this. This is actually the train passing through Roseville right now. So now the train is heading toward Colfax, and parked on a siding is my model of SP SD9E 4314 and GP35 6587 with a short work train. So once the Santa Fe train is passed, the SP work train gets ready to pull out.
Well, Dan, since this is an episode of Dan's Models, why don't you tell people about the models on this train?
Okay, well, the SD9 is a modified Proto 2000 unit. The GP35 is a Kato. The two work cars are Albre models, brass models. And the caboose is from Athearn Genesis. So this is where the Lokesound full throttle feature really comes into play. I've engaged the drive hold and cranked the throttle up on my controller, which makes the engines sound like they're revving like crazy to climb the hill, but the speed of the engine actually hasn't changed. And because I have them advanced consisted, all of them do it at the same time.
It sounds like 2821 is still in advanced squeaking mode.
Yeah, that's some kind of mechanical issue. It has nothing to do with the sound decoder. So this is the summit, where the tracks start to go downhill again. And I hit the dynamic brake button and sent all 7 engines into dynamic at the same time. And I thought this was one of the coolest things ever. So here the train is heading down kind of an open helix, I guess you could call it, sort of like a Tehachapi loop kind of a thing. So you'll see the train up on the upper track, and then it'll eventually appear on that track that's closer to the foreground. So anyway, the train is now rolling downhill into Sparks, and this is pretty much the end of the line. I thought it was really, really cool to have 5126 perform absolutely flawlessly. I think this railroad is probably at least a good 10 scale miles long, if not longer. It's quite long. And considering that this engine had never really been run except on a test track before, I was very pleased with it. It just performed great.
Yeah, and the whole train did, actually. I think there was maybe a couple of times in the very beginning where we had an issue with it coming apart. But
yeah, a couple times in the beginning. But once we got out of that Oakland yard, and I think it could even be that when I first put the cars on the track, maybe I had one wheel off. That happens sometimes.
Yeah.
But once we were past that, the train was flawless too. So it really does pay to make sure your wheels are engaged and your couplers are at the right height and all that stuff.
Right. There goes the whole question that sometimes people, why is he so particular about the coupler height?
That's why.
Right?
Right.
Okay. So anyway, we're starting the next build, which is also come out today. We did a Dan's models on the Southern Pacific boxcar, and that is our next build. So be tuned in next week for the beginning of that, and we'll see everybody next time.
Yeah, see ya.